It's Friday. It's 4 o'clock. DTR has a problem. I don't know if you can see that. Look. Freddie's doing the cameras today. God help us. I hope you're well. Hope you've had a good week. We've got a busy show, a normal show after the tomfoolery of last week. And we're only 3 weeks from Expo. 3. Look. I'm trying to get Freddie to do some camera work, but he's just standing there. Look. Zoom in, you fool. Try and do a bit of that. What do you reckon? Can you see 3? Is that working? Is that all right, Tia? Has he managed to do it?
Yeah.
Well done, Freddie. Is it in focus? Doesn't look like it. No, it's not in focus at all. Oh, Jesus. Look. Yeah, I know. Honest to God. So, look, this is what's funny is Freddie normally thinks he can do everything, doesn't he? Around the office, everyone. He thinks he can do everyone's job. Now we know. Even the mole rat is safe. Yeah, that's what we're going to find out. Right. Packed show today with lots of stuff. Hello, podcasters. Hope you are well and listening in. Let's start with our letters of the week because we missed one. So the letters of the week this week are S and T. You make them a bit bigger, Tia. No, go on. Make them a bit bigger. There we go. Way! You put them either side of my head. That'd be quite funny. Go on. S and T. That's quite good. Oh, I feel like I'm suddenly in Mary Poppins or something like that. It's great, isn't it? If you're listening in, there's the little floaty S with a tongue that's... Ooh, that's quite good. But, Anyway, enough of that. Right. This is so wrong. Yes, excellent. Okay, so let's start off with our story of the week. And actually, it's all about Strictly Come Dancing. Watch this. This is the best. Go on, said to her, look, this will make you feel more human. You've done it in Africa. Let's do it here. Didn't work. But anyway, let's move on from that because her speech at the Tory Party conference did have a bit of energy about it. We're just going to try and arrange the picture so it doesn't say, I look like I'm suddenly sitting on Theresa May. You can make Theresa... Look, hello, T. Hello, Tess. How you doing? Oh, look. Oh, there she is. Anyway, why don't you make me smaller on the image bit? Just make me smaller. There you go. Go on. There you go. That's better. Oh, now, look, she's dominating me now. Hello. This has suddenly turned into a really bad version of Monty Python this week. Anyway, Theresa May, let's get on with the serious bit of her talk. So she addressed the conference and she said, I don't know if you remember last week's show, Johnny went on about his illustrious leader, Jeremy Corbyn, talking about creating 400,000 green jobs and all that stuff. Anyway, so old Tessie had a go back this week and said, well, that's all pants because her big problem with Labour's plans is renationalisation. And she worked out that this was going to cost us, if you do the energy sector, remember they want to do rail as well. So it's not just energy and utilities, but if you do the whole package of like the rail infrastructure, etc., that would be £1 trillion. And what Theresa May was saying was the Prime Minister saying, look, as a member of the electorate, you would end up, if you voted for Labour, you'd pay twice. You'd pay through your energy bills, obviously, which you'd have to pay for, and you'd have to pay through taxes, because Labour would have to buy the current energy companies. She said, however, look, their plans are much better. They want to go ahead and really prove that they're doing stuff for consumers, which is why the price cap is coming in. What is going on? Pre's just walked out of the office. She's walked out the studio. Brilliant. So she said that she's going to make sure that the price cap has teeth. And also, the other thing that was interesting is that fuel duty has been frozen for another year. That's the 9th year in a row. So we've had all the Labour, Tory, well, dare I say the Lib Dem conference. Did anyone notice it? But we've had those two big conferences. And you've seen that, there you go, Freddie. Try and hold the camera. That's just brilliant, that is. You can put me full frame back. You can lose Theresa May, thank you. Dear, hang on. That's the next one. There we go. Right. So, Freddie's doing really well on the camera, aren't you, mate? It's just brilliant. Nurse's watching this. This is not good. This boy's handling is not great. So, what have I thought about this? Well, we've had Labour and we've had the Tories all looking at energy from a very simple perspective. One is the nationalisation, renationalisation debate. And the second one is about what is good for consumers. Labour went on the kind of, we're going to create green jobs. And the Tories have gone with, you know what, we are your consumer friend, even though we've nicked a Labour idea, which was Miliband's idea of a price cap. So where does this leave us? Well, let's face it, no one knows what the hell's going on with Brexit. But we know for damn sure when it comes to energy, we have a lot of issues to sort out. We need to make sure we have our security of supply. And there hasn't been anything in these two conferences that I've seen that kind of says that. It's all been sort of top lines about, oh yeah, we're going to help you, we're going to do great things, and you're going to all be doing well. What the energy sector needs, it needs certainty, it needs investment. And I didn't see much of that coming out of either Labour and the Tories. So that is my view on that. Plenty more homework to be done, leaders. Right, moving on to the next story. Well, this was all about Talking Energy, and I did a Talking Energy with Robert Groves, the CEO of Smartest Energy, earlier in the week, and it was really brilliant. It was one of the best chats I've had. I think he was hilarious, and if you haven't seen it, you've got to watch it. Incredibly dry humour. He was in the former life, he was a submariner, so he's got these interesting tales, but he's been in energy for about sort of 14, 15 years, and been with Smartest for a very long time as well. And it was interesting to get his perspective on where he thinks big energy companies are going. And I've got a clip here that I want to play you, and we'll have a talk about it afterwards, because he addresses the issues around whether the big six have a future in their current state. Let's play this. Do you think the big five now, rather than big six, will still be around? Or do you think the big kind of asset-owning, vertically integrated companies can survive in this new future?
No, I don't think they can survive as they are. And just look at their share price, really, to get a view on what the investment market thinks of their viability in the future.
And what do you think that relates to? Is that relating to the fact that they are facing a troubled time because they've got the big assets that you talked about that actually, A, we're closing down through decarbonisation, but B, no one really wants to run them anymore?
Well, I think it's. I think they're aware of. They're as smart as we all are.
Yeah.
They have the similar sort of view. I think it's a generally held view of the future.
But we're still going to need some big generation assets, aren't we? Who's going to run them?
Well, I don't think necessarily they will be the right people to own those assets, and I think they're in a conflicted position. Their ability to prepare for that new future, because they have a conflict of interest where they're trying to protect their existing business models. And it will take a very brave CEO of one of those companies to turn that back on that existing business and then try and reinvent at the expense of that business something that is uncertain and as yet unproven.
So, I don't know why we've got that image. Lose that one. Right back to that. What was that about? Interesting, hey? The idea that, you know, the big six know what's going on. And obviously you'd say, well, hang on, Robert would say that because he is running a rival to the big six. But I think his points are very valid. Who will run the big assets? You know, the big system of energy that we've had for more than 100 years is really under threat with what's going on now in terms of how energy is deregulating in lots of the renewable generation. So I think his point is very true, that in a way they're slightly conflicted because their model is built on big assets and big bits of kit. And that's, don't get me wrong, that's absolutely necessary right now. We have to have those big, huge power stations, and whether it be turbine assets or, you know, coal fire, which has been closed down, or whether it's gas or whatever you'll need some sort of big kit. But if people aren't interested in taking the risk on that kit, who will? So you'll have the big six, big five soon to be, as I said in that interview, facing a real issue, which is the energy sector is moving away from the model that they have, but their financial model is built on having that big kind of top-down system and the vertically integrated companies. And I think Robert's point is that there will be players, and if you watch the whole interview, he talks about there are going to be disruptors that we don't know who they are yet coming through. And I think that's a fair point. Will the big six be in trouble? I don't think they'll be in trouble, but will they have to relook at what they're doing? I think they will. And to be honest, I think most of them already are. So Watch that interview, though. It's on our website, and I think it's a very interesting look, not just at that, but he talks about various issues, including technology and data security, which I think is going to be a bigger and bigger part of what we get into. And then my final story in this section is about Ofgem. Oh, yes, my favourite group. Good old Ofgem. Anyway, they've gone digital. So what's happening is they've invested £6 million in a digital marketplace for energy. This is actually run by one of the network companies, the DNOs. It's SP Energy Networks, so Scottish Power's one. And the idea is that this platform called Fusion, is that right, Johnny? I think it's called Fusion, isn't it? Project Fusion, right. So Project Fusion is a way that you can trade energy locally. It'll be a platform that's been run, excuse me, and Ofgem has invested £6 million to help it work. Now, we still haven't quite got to the bottom of why this has been given by sort of government money to DNO, but I assume the idea is that DNOs, if you know what they are, district network operators, whose names are changing soon, but people like UK Power Networks and various other ones around the country, they basically help you with your local energy network. So they take big power and they make it smaller so that we can have it coming into our homes. And the idea is that with this kind of trading platform, you'll have businesses. So, for example, where we are in North London, we might have our neighbours next door producing energy. There's a Sainsbury's down around the corner. We might have another company that's using it. We could all go and trade with each other and go, actually, guys, we need some power now, or you need some power. Do you want to swap? Do you want to trade? Do you want to feed it back into the grid? There are stories of these kind of local traded networks already in places like Cornwall. There's one. We did one in Hackney, I think, as well. So this is no new thing. I think Ofgem is slightly behind the curve, but you've got to say fair play when they do something. I don't congratulate them very often. When they do something that is looking at the future. And one of the interesting things is they'll be able to trade locally. But there's no specific generation on this. So it's not like you can only trade renewable energy. And I think that's quite interesting. Right now, we need people to be able to use these platforms to trade whatever power they're generating from whatever source. And of course, with things like whether you believe in blockchain or cryptocurrencies, the digitalization of trading, this is going to be something that happens more often. So there's our main three stories. Tell me what you think about that, and we'll have a chat about that. Not yet, Johnny. I've got to do Viewpoint this week. He's already keen. Yeah, the hell. Let's move on to this week's Viewpoint. Okay, so I thought this was interesting. We did a story, in fact, Johnny did do this story, about smaller firms giving worse customer service. So Citizens Advice had a look into it, and it did a survey and an index on customer service, and it found that the smaller firms, lo and behold, are doing worse than the bigger firms. In fact, two of them were singled out. Toto Energy came bottom of the list, and then second bottom was Solarplicity. I think that's how you pronounce their names. Now, what's this all about? What they said is that basically Ofgem need to look at the way they decide who is a supplier, because Citizens Advice said that many of these companies don't have the infrastructure to deal with the issues around customer service, and that they should be vetted more thoroughly before being put forward. Gillian Guy, who's the sort of boss of this section of the Citizens Advice Bureau, said Ofgem needs to tighten its rules on who becomes a supplier to make sure that consumers are protected, because it's clear that many of these companies don't have the infrastructure at present to deal with these volumes. What have they said? Well, you've got to give right to reply. Toto said that they were taking steps since the survey was done, which was a few months back by Citizens Advice, and have improved things. And Solarplicity said that the survey result where they came was unfair, because at the time that this was done, they were having a big IT restructure, and that really affected the call handling and the way they were doing things. Both have said that they're going to continue to work with Citizens Advice. So here I am on this point. Now let's look at this. We've had, I think, in the 8 years we've been going, we've seen, I think, probably the number of suppliers outside the big six go from about 5 to about 95. Yeah? So that's an enormous growth. And most of that growth has happened in the last 2 to 3 years. Many of them have been companies that do supply only. In fact, nearly all of them are supply only. And a lot of them have come from things like councils. You know, we've covered the stories. Both John and Pre have written about councils having sort of energy companies, and also players who haven't got a background into it. Now, I'm all for the idea of people trading and buying energy at cheaper rates and being able to switch supplier. But this proves something very, very pertinent, which is it is a complicated business, energy, and it has human beings at the end of it. Okay, it's not, you know, when we do our phone contracts, they're pretty simple. We literally go, we want a phone, yes, no. It's as simple as that. Oh, I may have been paid more tax. You can do lots of things online with phones, and actually a lot of companies have kind of in a very easy chat system. Plus, phone companies are built for this. You know, retailers, telecoms, they're way ahead of the curve compared to energy sector companies. And I think a lot of these energy companies are still suffering from the fact that they're from a background where, even the new people that have come in, they're from a background where they think, you've done the actual billing. Once you've done the billing, off you go, that's it. But people have problems. They get charged incorrectly. They may have an issue with their supply. They may have an issue with installation of smart meters. And you need to have an infrastructure. So I'm not against small companies coming into the sector. I think that's a bloody good thing. But you can't have it that you are always slating the big six when they have the infrastructures in. And they do, for the amount of customers they have pretty good customer service. So this proved that smaller suppliers do have an Achilles heel. They need to make sure that their housekeeping, all their stuff that they've got behind that interface is up to scratch. And I think Citizen Advice have done us all a favour by looking at this. I'm not saying that the smaller suppliers shouldn't be in the game. What I am saying is don't go into it until you're fully aware of what this market's about. And it's a complicated one. That's my view. Tell us what you think. Email us. Use the hashtags. You know the score. Now we're on to the bit he's been waiting for. The banter box. I know. It looks like he's been a cameraman now, bro. Look at that.
Well done, Freddie.
Wow. Go on then, say something.
All right, everyone. Hello.
This is England, yeah. You were wearing a second-hand denim jacket. You should have had a photo of that, actually.
I'll come on next Friday. No, I won't. I'm at home. Friday after.
Yeah, you're at home next Friday. You took a day off, didn't you?
Yeah.
Why did you take a day off, guys?
Because
Yeah? Why did you go off? When we're at the busiest period where Freddie got an absolute bollocking just for having holiday, right? We're at the busiest period coming up to our expo, which is great. We'll talk about that later. He wants a day off on a Friday to help his girlfriend.
Aww.
Elena, if you're watching, you don't need him. He's a liability. He can't write here, let alone look at your essays. Poor.
Yeah, no comment.
It's only because Pre's soft that she let you have the day off. I would have said no. Anyway, let's get on with it.
Anyway, so, first of all...
Yes?
When I say Hindenburg, what does that mean to you?
Hindenburg. Let me think. Oh, gas. Gas that's explosive.
Yes.
Gas that reminds me of you.
Hydrogen. Yeah.
Which is what?
It burns with a squeaky pop.
Yeah, but more importantly, hang on, let's do your basic physics. This is why I like physics. This is why I like physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
What's
the most common element in the universe?
Carbon.
I've just set you up all this time.
I'm pretty sure carbon is.
No, it's not your fault. It's
everything's
hydrogen.
made of carbon.
No, hydrogen. It's in the stars.
Hydrogen then. Hydrogen fusion, hydrogen fission,
Okay,
whatever.
all right, whatever.
Anyway, HES Energy. They're developing a concept plane. It's not in production yet.
Okay, make us small so we can see the plane. Whee. Go on, make us small, Tia. Do it. Make us wee. Go on, Tia. Go on, Tia. Do it. Go on, Tia. You can do it. Yes, well done. Right, okay. So now that is quite a striking plane.
Yes, because it hasn't been designed yet, so they've just drawn a cool picture on
but it does
Microsoft
look
Paint.
fun. Yeah, it looks good.
But no, it is cool. It only fits 4 people, this design.
Flipping egg.
But it is a work in progress. So this hydrogen plane basically is being developed so this company can hopefully deliver zero-emission flights. Obviously, the aviation sector creates a lot of pollution.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison
last
Ford,
week.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it could be refueled in less than 10 minutes as well. So it could be quite efficient.
What about the whole kind of blowing up part that the Hindenburg had?
Yeah, well, that's what the question was. That's where the banter comes into the box, you see. Would you fly in a hydrogen plane? Obviously, jet
If you were
fuel's-
piloting it, no bloody chance.
I would be the sexy stewardess.
Oh
Or
my
steward,
God.
you know?
Gender neutral in this office.
Yeah.
You take any role.
You can eat my
I
steak
don't
and
know,
kidney pie.
but what would be the advantage? I'll ignore that. What would be the advantage of going in that plane?
There would be no emissions. There's no emissions in this plane.
Apart from in the cabin. Anyway.
Yeah, but obviously, to be honest,
Is it quicker?
people hear hydrogen plane and they think, oh, that's awful, you know,
Yeah.
it could crash and explode.
No, but
but
we've
jet
got
fuel's
hydrogen
pretty
cars.
flammable as well.
We've got hydrogen
I don't
cars.
think it would be much more dangerous. And
No, I would ride in it, yes, absolutely. But I
yeah,
wouldn't
so would I.
I can't afford it. Are they actually going to build this, or is this kind of like a concept that they want one of the big manufacturers
No,
to
there
pick
are
up?
lots of concepts like this that obviously are pie
Yeah.
in the sky. This company actually has kind of a realistic plan drawn out. So they're hoping to create a prototype that can fly by 2025, and I think that will happen. It can go up to 5,000 kilometres. That's as far as Lagos, which is further than most electric planes that exist.
Not bad.
Lagos is in Nigeria, by the way, guys. And yeah, it can be refueled in less than 10 minutes. So how long does a normal plane take? An hour to do a turnaround?
Well, if it's Ryanair, about 5 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crisp packets are loaded and off you go. Allegedly. Now, planes flying,
Yeah. what
affecting
else
the climate.
flies? Oh yeah, and also flying are hummingbirds. And so in the US, hummingbirds basically are being severely
Oh.
threatened.
Can we be small again so we can see the hummingbird? Come on, Tia. Go on, Tia. Go on, Tia. No, Tia, wrong way. Go on, hang on. She's having a moment here. Go on, Tia. There we go.
Hey,
It's a very nice hummingbird, actually.
if anyone can name the plant, I'll give you a tenner.
Nifrus fanivorous.
No, Ocotillo.
Okay, well, there you go.
So this red plant, this is actually Ocotillo, and the problem is, according to this new scientists, basically are saying that Ocotillo is blooming too early in the year now because of climate change. So the weather's warmer. The Ocotillo flowers are opening in January rather than summer.
And I trust this is in Africa or somewhere like that. Or
This is in the
South-
US.
South
It's
America.
in Coachella Valley.
Coachella. Isn't that where they have those weird raves?
Yeah, the
Freddie
weird-
goes to that.
Yeah,
Coachella.
yeah, it's in the Coachella Valley.
Oh. And does that meaning the little hummingbirds
Well,
are not?
the birds then fly over this region on their migration,
Yes.
and they go, "Oh, I'm thirsty. I need some nectar to drink."
Of
and
course.
they fly down, and then it turns out that Ocotillo's been open for months, so other people have drunk it.
Outrageous.
I don't know what kind of other people drink out of Ocotillos, but they do. So basically, the hummingbirds then, the researchers have said that the hummingbird numbers are declining. They can't prove that it's linked to this, but they believe
Okay,
it.
this is all good, but what can we do about it? We can't do anything about it.
We could all stop driving cars, stop flying planes,
Or we
go
could
off
find the
grid.
little hummingbirds and give them bits of nectar.
We could pipette nectar into their
Yeah.
beaks. Yeah,
Do you know that they don't drink water?
I didn't know that.
Hmm.
I know that the certain species of hummingbirds are the smallest birds, though,
Yes, they are.
with the fastest metabolisms, and they go into a torpor every night, which is a
That just
comatose
sounds.
state.
That sounds like Freddie, doesn't it? That really fast metabolism going off, just like exploding. All you have to do is take Freddie out. It's the same thing.
Well, their
isn't it?
routine's been
Their
horribly
routine,
disrupted.
exactly. Imagine that. It's like taking away his little Rice Krispie things and
Yeah.
hiding his peanut butter. He'd literally like flap around. You'd be looking, where is it? So yes, this is a very sweet story.
Yeah, I think it's just
Does that
something we
make
should
us
all
feel-
be conscious about.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And finally, I had to find you an interesting story because
That's
you
a
couldn't
rufous
find one.
hummingbird, by the way, just in case.
Well
you're
done. Right, we need to be small again.
wondering. Your head's in the fish's mouth.
It's not the right fish, but I'm gonna.
Is that the Meg
That is the
in the
Meg.
background?
What was that quote from the Meg? It was brilliant. I can't remember now. Get living, dying, or something.
My favourite quote was, "How do you deal with so much trauma?"
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't. This is exactly it. So we have a fish eating a light bulb for people on the podcast.
Yeah,
Explain more.
I've got an interesting angle for this one. Oh, come on.
Come on, mate.
That was good. Okay, so yeah, so
Have you done
basically-
some deep research on this?
Yeah,
Put 'em.
yeah. I cast out my net.
All right, keep going.
Anyway, yeah. So it turns out I'm not going to say where this story's come from because it would be a massive, massive plug. But
Plug.
green or blue,
Get it?
green or blue LEDs,
Yes.
could actually be used to replace lights used for fishing. And I hear people saying, "What lights used for fishing?" And
What
it turns
lights used
out
for fishing?
exactly. So it turns out that lots of fishermen put their light bulbs above water, not a
Right.
euphemism. And then the fish are fish have a feature in their brain called, it's iOS 7, called phototaxis. And
Right.
it means that they are incredibly attracted to light sources.
Yes.
So
Which is
some,
the anglerfish. Yeah.
So some fishermen put light above water.
Right.
This is common in sulfuric light fishing, seen in certain parts of Asia, I realised today. And they put the light above the water, all the fish swim up, and then they can be caught more easily. So basically, the lights that fishermen use to
Yes.
do this are usually incandescent bulbs. They use loads of electricity.
We're getting to the any angle now.
Yeah, the energy
So
angle.
this is going to be sustainable, nice, much better for the environment, these lights.
Yeah, so the lights they use are very bright, but they rely on a diesel generator, which
Oh.
is noisy and polluting, and
Oh.
the noise scares the fish off. Or they use batteries, and then the fishermen have to bring like loads of battery packs,
Right.
which they don't usually do. So LEDs actually mean that the lights can run on, one battery can power them for much
Yeah.
longer. And yeah, so they're basically less energy intensive.
And what fish like to be caught this way?
Well, this
Ah,
sounds
you
like
see?
no. This
Didn't know
sounds
that,
like a
does he?
sweeping statement, but apparently all fish do have phototaxis installed in their data banks. So all fish.
Also known as a brain.
So all fish.
What
do
I
swim
do
to
like
this
about
light.
this picture, well, this picture started off in various guises. If you're listening, it's a picture of a bulb and a cod or something, but behind,
It's
just
a
above.
barracuda.
Dun-dum, dun-dum. I like the little shark. You see, look.
Oh look, it's bitten our hand off. Aha!
The Meg.
Yeah.
I like that story. That's why I found it and gave it to you, although you made a hash of it. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And let's bring in the more sensible and far more attractive. Although I can't say that these days.
Should I?
Do you want to dance in?
imitate
Yeah, do a Teresa. Dance
Theresa
in.
May?
Pop in. Tell me your stories.
Hello,
Hello.
everyone.
Oh,
Hi.
we've gone. I don't know
Oh,
where
I
we've
can't
gone.
see the screen.
It's all happening, don't worry.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good
or
afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. So should I go with my first story?
Well, you could do, or we could just sit here goldfishing like a couple
no, I
of
was trying to
cods.
see the screen up there.
Right,
Okay.
your first story
Elon
is?
Musk, your favorite person
I
in the
love
world.
Mr. Muskie.
Yes. So
I'm losing my hair, and look, see, look, I reckon.
that's a pretty old picture of him.
Yeah,
though.
but I could do an Elon. I reckon I should go and have an Elon. What do you reckon?
I think Johnny fancies Elon Musk.
Does he?
Assume it's got a better tan.
I've got better tan, that's for sure. And most of this is actually my own cheeks, so that's quite good. Not I'm saying that Elon has anything else.
He gets more attractive as years go on.
As he does, indeed.
Okay, we're not here to talk about how good looking
You
or not so
started
good
it.
looking he
Anyway,
is.
go on.
But so Elon Musk, he's agreed to pay £20 million.
Dollars.
Sorry, $20 million. I'm so used to saying pounds because we're in the UK, obviously. So $20 million.
Good geography reference there.
Tesla has also agreed to pay $20 million.
Whoa.
And Elon Musk has also agreed to quit as chairman of Tesla.
And this is all he's
And
paying
this
it
is
to?
all because this is following the Securities and Exchange Commission in the US
Boom.
started a proceeding against him because of a tweet.
Yes.
So we've got loads of
You've
kids.
got to be really careful.
Yeah,
with
really
that,
careful. We've got
these
loads of
days.
kids just tweeting whatever they want, and this is what you have to do: pay $20 million
Wow.
in fine. So basically, what he tweeted was that he could take Tesla private at £420 per share, and
But he didn't have the money, and he didn't have the ability.
yeah,
he
so
basically-
the SEC in the US basically said that there was no proof of this.
it was a false statement to the market, basically.
Yeah, allegedly. Tesla,
Well, it was.
no. Tesla and Elon Musk, the reason I say allegedly is because Tesla and Elon Musk has agreed to settle the charges, paying the fine, stepping down, without actually admitting or denying the
Yeah,
allegations.
that's exactly. It's
Yeah.
this is the thing. This is a little peculiarity of the law in America,
In the
where you
US,
can
yeah.
have this thing where you're not guilty, but you're sort of guilty, but you're not guilty either. So it's a very interesting one where you don't admit liability and yet you still pay the fine.
Yep.
What does this mean for Tesla? Do you think?
Well, because of the tweet, the allegedly uncertain, inadequate tweet led to Tesla's stock prices jumping by more than 6%. So I think, I mean, a lot of people have been discussing, arguing about the fact that Tesla could be going down.
Yeah, but they've been saying
We've
that
seen-
for ages.
yeah,
And
they
you could,
have.
You could say that is it his company or is it? You know, it's like people think Richard Branson is still Virgin. Well, he's not really. You know, he's like a figurehead, and then he's partially involved in many things.
Yeah, but he's the face of Virgin.
Yeah,
so everybody
exactly.
knows him as the Virgin.
And Elon is the face
And
of Tesla.
yeah.
But, you know, Tesla is still a company that's got a lot of assets there. And I'm sure, you know, it's in pretty good shape. But I do think this shows you that, well, I think it's very interesting that, you know, you've got to be so careful with what you say in front of the markets.
Yeah.
And you've got to back it up.
I mean, who would
particularly-
have thought you just tweet something and a few months down the line you're going to be paying $20 million?
Who would have thunk it? Okay.
We did reach out to Tesla
The
for a
Donald.
statement.
Yes, and what did
but
Tesla say?
They
Declined.
never got back to me.
Well,
Never got back to
that's
me.
Let's go back
Shame.
home. Let's come back to the UK and
Yep.
talk about charities.
Charities in
And
the
this,
UK.
you guys always love this picture of the piggy bank. I don't know why. You always use this.
Variations of the piggy bank.
Yeah, no, make us smaller.
Oh, sorry. If we're not looking at the camera because we're trying to look at the screen.
No,
yeah.
we've seen it. There we go.
Okay, so the piggy bank, because charities in the UK
Mm-hmm.
have been offered a share of £2.5 million
Okay.
to help vulnerable customers. So, and those are paying energy bills.
And who's giving the money up?
So the money is part of a fund. It's called the Energy Redress Scheme. It's being administered by the Energy Savings Trust.
Right.
But
And is
the
this
money,
money
comes
from-
it comes from suppliers, so energy suppliers in the UK who have made voluntary payments over the year because they've breached Ofgem's rules, basically.
Yeah. So basically, it's a fine fund. Basically,
It is a fine, but they don't like to say it a fine. They like to prefer calling it voluntary
course.
payments, which is a load of.
Load of corporate speak. But let's face
yeah.
it, when they get fined, they have to do something good, and this is what it. But you know, well, that's good. At least they're doing. You know, £2.5 million doesn't sound a lot, but
But it is the biggest one so
It is,
far.
yeah, and it can help a lot of people, particularly as we're entering the winter months now as well.
So the deadline is the 15th of October to get in touch. But I think the Energy Savings Trust has said that those wanting to apply need to fill out this form on their website
Right.
2 weeks prior. So, well, they should be done by now, hopefully,
Okay.
this week.
And then I mentioned it earlier with Theresa May, fuel duty.
Yeah, fuel duty. So Theresa May, during the
Dance-off.
Tory party conference after the dance, announced that fuel duty will be frozen for the 9th year in a row. I'm sure the Chancellor, Philip Hammond, isn't going to be very happy with this because he'd previously said that because it's been going on since 25 years, 9th year, so 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
So the Chancellor Philip Hammond previously said that if this was to go on for another 3 years, it would cost the Treasury £38 billion. So I guess now that
Yeah,
the
but this
Prime
is
Minister
politics,
has
isn't it? Yeah,
announced
absolutely.
he needs to include it in his budget, which is later this month.
Which is later this month. I think this is the thing is, though, if you look at where fuel... We're in a real transition phase right now. So, you know, I just bought a car, diesel, which is weirdly...
What?
Can you believe it? Yes,
You bought diesel?
I did.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. See? Evil without knowing the facts. This is it. Reactionary journalism. We don't go for that.
We've been writing all these stories about diesel
Can
and
I-
petrol.
right, so
and
let me
electric
explain
vehicles.
this. Okay, so my old Golf, which was petrol, produced far more emissions than my new ultra clean diesel. Now I didn't want to get diesel, but the guy actually showed me the emissions thing. And here's the funny thing: the diesel is cleaner. The diesel turns itself off. It produces far less pollutants because it's got all this trap, and it's got this new little thing in it, which I didn't know. But if you've got a diesel car, you'll know new cars now have this little thing that captures all the gubbins, all the kind of NOx and stuff like that. And so you could say that actually, even though I've gone from petrol to diesel, I'm now
more
cleaner
Is it
and
the-
morally take the higher ground.
But not when you tell people you drive a diesel car.
No, not really. I don't really care. Anyway, I've got it short term because I know there's going to be a hybrid coming along soon.
Nice.
There you go, for 3 years.
And we can
There you
make
go.
a film out of it.
We can make a film out of it.
So just for people's reference, the tax paid. So it's a tax that's paid on most fuels, and currently it's 57.95 pence per litre.
Which is massive. Because a pint, a litre costs how much?
I don't know. I don't.
Who knows here
I don't
how
have a
much a
car.
litre of petrol costs? Freddie's like, I don't know, just fill it up.
Freddie just like finished
Johnny
this up
doesn't.
already.
Johnny doesn't need to because Dad pays for it, so it doesn't bother him.
I don't really drive.
Yeah, exactly. It's about 1.30. So, 57 pence, 60 pence of that.
Nearly 60
Yeah,
pence. Yeah.
so it's, nearly half of it is going in tax. So that's interesting, isn't it? So that's a bit of a kick in the teeth for environmentalists, but you can kind of see why she's done it.
Yeah, so what the Green Party has said, Caroline Lucas said that the money could be invested elsewhere rather than giving it to diesel and petrol cars.
Fair
So,
point, but
do
also you
wanna
can see
look
that
at-
then.
look after consumers, saving money. Do you want to look after the environment? I mean, it's
It's all about money.
difficult to balance.
follow the money.
Yeah, I guess so. And finally,
And finally,
can I also say, just briefly,
Yes.
Philip Hammond has also announced a review into utilities regulators. So that includes water and energy regulators. And he hasn't given out too many details about it, but it will be run by the National Infrastructure Commission. So hopefully sometime later this year, he'll make the announcement over the
Okay.
next couple of weeks.
we will watch that with
Yep.
interest.
And finally, if you have any stories, do send it over to stories@energylivenews.com, and have a lovely weekend. Bye.
Amazing. She's amazing. Freddie, you'll have to do some work now. Try and move the camera. Go on, Fredo. Go on, Fredo. Go on, Fredo. I'll move that out of the way to make your life easier. How's that? No, Freddie. No. Okay, no. Keep going, Freddie. Go on, Freddie. No, Freddie. No, Freddie. In. Look at that. That's it. Look at the screen, mate. Okay, now I seem to have lost. My head is now way over the top. So Tia will have to make me a bit smaller. So this show is going so well. Actually, Tia's now taking over the camera. It's just, I don't know. No. Also, what's quite interesting, I'm sort of floating constantly in this week's show. So that's quite good. There you go. I'll stay here. Hold it there. Hurrah. Okay, let's talk about what's coming up, our diary dates. And I mentioned it already. Expo on the 31st of October. We have Claire Perry, the Energy Minister. She will be coming and speaking. We can ask her about a lot of those things that you've just heard right now, about the fuel duty, about the future of where energy security will be as we enter the Brexit period. As I mentioned last week, we have Neil Clitheroe joining our CEO panel. He is the boss of Scottish Power, so Iberdrola, and he will be joining Martin Pibworth, Beatrice Bijois, and Ian Funnell. They will be discussing, in an energy question time, the issues that matter to you. So watch out for that. Now, we are pretty full right now. We've got about 320 registered. We've got room for about another 30 to 50 more. So if you would like to come along, please just go onto the website, click on the page for Expo. You'll find the pretty much entire 30 sessions are all there now, so you can have a look at it. And then Harry will get you registered. Just click on the link and Harry will register you for that. And then in December, we have ELPA, the Energy Live Personality Awards, which are going through right now. Freddie, when's the closing date?
Tuesday the 9th.
Tuesday the 9th. So you've got next week. Try and get your entries in. Freddie will be there, chomping at the bit. Do enter. It's going to be a right laugh. We're going to be in the Silver Sturgeon, and it's a great chance to celebrate the interesting and amazing people we have in the industry. Well, that's about it for this week. No time for shout-outs this week, unfortunately. We've got to get going. But I will leave you with this nice final thought. Today is International Teacher Day. And there's my favourite teacher, Mr. Garrison. Mr. Garrison, how are you?
Tell the kids.
He told kids loads of interesting things that we can't repeat because this is a family show. But to teachers, including my mum, well done, Mum, you taught a few people. Most of them ended up criminals, but hey, you did your bit. Teachers, they have a role, don't they? Where would it be? Favourite teachers? Tia, favourite teacher?
Mr. Bunce.
Mr. Bunce. Johnny?
He's got a restraining order.
He's got a restraining order. Freddie, favourite teacher?
Mr. Goddard.
Mr. Goddard. And Pri, favourite teacher? Miss Shardamek. Well done. Teachers of the world unite. We salute you. We'll see you next week. Adios.